Hello, my name is Tamnuni Mursalin. As I mentioned earlier, I am an associate professor in University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh, as well as I am also the author of the book CIFA Contest. So today we are going to talk about, mainly we are going to today talk about control structures. This is, as we all know, whoever have taken C before or whoever is new, the control structure plays a major role in programming. So we are going to cover almost all brief part of all the control structures. If you are willing to explore more on control structures, I would highly recommend you go through my book CIFA Contest. So let's start. At first, as we know, okay, the control structures. These are the control statements. We all know the statements can. We all know that the statements can execute sequentially, which means that after one statement there will be another statement. But however, there are situations when you don't want statements to execute sequentially. What you would like to have is to execute a statement depending on evaluating a certain condition. And if the condition comes true, you'd want to execute the statement. And if a condition comes false, you don't want to execute that statement. You probably want to branch to another block. So this is what control structure exactly means. Instead of sequential execution, you want the flow of control to execute in different parts of your code. So now we are going to verify that how many control structures we have. So we have conditional control statements and we have unconditional control statements. So even though my book covers both of them, but what we are going to cover today mostly is conditional control statements. Let me let you know before what I am going to do is I am going to cover each of these conditional statements as well as I am going to give an example for each of them. So we have these 6 types of conditional statements. Main part of conditional statements, what it does, it evaluates a certain condition and sees if it is true or not, and based on the condition it will execute a loop or execute the statement block. So we have an if statement, if else statement, else if statement, nested if statement, switch case statement, loop statement, and in the loop statements we have other parts. That means in the loops are also divided into 3 parts. We have a for loop, we have a while loop, and we have a do loop. So now let's see at the if statement. This is what we are going to, is our first control structure that we are going to cover. The if statement has if and we have an expression over here. What this expression does? This is the condition that it checks before it wants to execute the programming statement. So if this condition is true, only then it will execute this programming statement over here. However, if this condition statement is false, then it will not execute this statement or the block. It might not be a statement, it might be a block, which means inside a second bracket you might have, or inside a brace you might have 3 or 4 or 5 or 20 lines of code. How much the lines of code ever it is, if this is true, it will execute the certain blocks. And if it's false, it will not execute that code, but it will however go to the next statement and execute the next statement. So it's completely depends on how the expression is. So we can give a theoretical example, which is a very hypothetical. If it's raining, this is the condition. If it rains, that means if we have raining, then if this comes true, then it will print I shall be at home. However, if it's not raining outside, then it will not print this statement. Instead, it will print I shall go to the university. So if you look at the next one, it's a different structure. Okay, in my book I have covered more examples which you should go through, with more complicated ones, more complicated condition statements. But due to time constraint, we are just going to give one example for each structures. So here, this is called if else. Now in the if statement, we had a problem. Okay, well, the major problem of the if statement is, if it's true, it does execute something. But what if it is false? So what to do? That is where the if statement does not function. So if statement does the magic for you. What if else statement does, if the condition is true, it will execute this block, okay, or this statement, right? Else, if it is not true, that means if the statement is not true, if this statement is not true, it will not execute this block. It will check the condition. If it's not true, it will not execute this block. But however, it will not stop here. It will go to the else statement and print the one. What if it's not false, what to print? That means if this is false, then you print this one. If this is true, then you print the first block that comes through. So if true, print this one. If not true, then you print this one. This is how an if else works. So let's look at an example. It's pretty simple again. This is example 3.3 from CIFA Contest. Again, we have the standard io.h. We have the main function, as we have mentioned before. We are taking a character. Enter any character A to Z. prior to that we have also declared a character over here, ch, and then we are reading the input by scanf, okay, as a character person C, okay, since it's a character. Then we are checking if it's a vowel or not. Okay, in order to check a vowel, we know we have this popular 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so if any one of these matches, this is a logical operator. This is equal to means if any one of these matches with the input that you are going to provide, then it will print this is a vowel. However, since it is an if else statement, if none of this is in our input, then it will print this is a consonant. Okay, so it depends what you are printing. If it is a vowel, it will print a vowel. If it's false, that means if this condition is false, if all of them are false, then it will print it is a consonant. However, you see these operators over here, these are OR operators. What does OR operators means? That any one of them is true, then it will print this is vowel or this is a consonant. So let's look at the output. Here the output says enter any character which is coming from this line over here, and you type in X, and we all know X is not a vowel, it's a consonant. So we are saying this is a consonant. So I guess you understood the if else problem, and now let's look at another problem. Okay, this is another problem. This is problem example 3.5 from C4 contest book. This is another problem. So what we are going to do, we have again the main function. What this problem does, it checks if the number is even or if the number is odd. Okay, it is one of the major problems. So first we enter your number to be tested. So we enter a number. So whatever number you are adding, testing, then you see the number to test. You do a modulus operator. That means you find the remainder of the operator and divide it by 2. So we know if we divide a number by 2, if the remaining is 0, then we know it is an even. However, if the remaining is 1 or anything else, it shouldn't be anything else. If the remaining is 1, then we know the number is odd. So we take the number over here, whatever from the input, then we check if the remainder is equal to 0 or not. If it is 0, we say the number is even, and if the remainder is not equal to 0, we say number is odd. So you can see the output over here. Enter your number, we enter your number, we have printer 24555, and as we divide it with person 2, okay, and we know the remainder will be 1, and if the remainder was 1, this will be false, and if this is false, the number is odd, and you can see the print number is odd.